Hello, my name is Justice Jones, and we're going to talk about IPV and, all the stuff that goes along with IPV and the changes from 1950s to now. Social awareness was not that common back in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s because they didn't have the technology back then that we have today. There was no such thing as cell phones and all this, that, and the third, being able to report stuff because it wasn't, a phone to be able to report stuff on. The impact on families back in the 1950s, a lot of the families went into isolationism, which means they went, hid and, they didn't want anybody to know. They were kind of shy, or they were going to scared that their partner was going to kill them if they told. So they just kind of pushed it under the rug. And during the 1970s, that's when the shelters and hotlines came out. And so back then people were able to report their partner under an anonymous tip. And so they were able to report them. And so that way they didn't have to, they felt a relief. And so once the hotline got in touch with them, they would go to the shelter. And so changes of IPV from the 2000s to present, there has been so many different ways with the technology. People have been able to report stuff by calling, emailing, texting, doing pagers, or if they go to school or if they work for an employer, their employer will pay for them to go to counseling or therapy. And so then they'll be able to get help that way as well. And the intimate partner violence in the 1950s to present, the social awareness, again, has changed a lot. The legal framework, the laws were not powerful enough back in the 1950s, so people were not scared to beat on their partner or abuse their partner. And the impact on families back in the 1950s, like I said, people went into isolationism. Nowadays, the family just goes to a shelter, or they can go hang out with other family and stuff like that. And so obstacles that some people may face is pressure from the community. The support system might be pressuring them to call 911, but they may be apprehensive about it. And then, the stigma and the shame. During the not 1920s, during the 2000s, there were many types of public awareness places that popped up. And so that way people were able to talk to a therapist, and the therapists were able to see what they could do to help if there anything they could help. But the obstacles that they may face when it comes down to the Christian worldview is, clerical advice, the stigma and the shame, the misinterpretation of scriptures. There's just a lot that goes into it. Some people, they feel like, I shouldn't report my abuse, or I should just sit there. Abuse is love. Abuse is not love. It doesn't matter if it's verbally, mentally, physically, emotionally. Any type of abuse is not love. And some people get that, they make that mistake. And solutions through the Christian worldview is proper biblical interpretation, clergy trainings, a strong support system, not a support system that's going to look down on you or judge you for what you're telling them that your partner's doing. And then the community education and awareness. People are educated, they can do better. When you know better, you do better. And encouraging people to take legal action. That's the hard thing, is getting people to report the action. And, it's just a lot of things that go into IPV. And, it's great that we have the technologies in place today to help people get out of those situations. Because 40 and 60 years ago, people did not have that technology. And that's all I have for today.